Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Virche Epic Lycoris. And can I just tell you, I swear to God, I thought I was going insane. So, alright, so the last part, we fought Boro, and Spinel was there, and Adolphe and Uncle were angry at each other, and we're gonna throw hands, and we were like, stop it, and all that shit. So anyway. So I loaded up the save, whatever, and I'm like, and I listen, I recorded the last part, literally a couple hours ago, but I forgot where it ended, whatever, because my brain is not working today, okay? So I'm starting up and I'm like, okay, that's what happened, whatever. And I start reading and I'm like, this is really weird because we're in this other perspective. Oh, okay, notice where we are right now, okay? So we'll get there. So we're in this other perspective, and I'm like, well, we're supposed to be Anka, but why are they doing question mark things? And I'm like, again, why are they're rehashing? I'm like, this is a scene. I'm like, we did this already, didn't we? And I'm like, what's happening? And then, okay, it took me a little bit too fucking long to realize I loaded up the wrong fucking save. Because my thing, I must have been like, I think I was waiting for my capture software to like fucking work with my recording software and everything. So I must have like, normally when you go into load, it'll be on the most recent save. It went up one. So I also have controller drift problems. So that could have been it. So I just clicked, okay, yep, no, load the save that it's on, not realizing it was an older one. And we were rehashing the scene where Anko's lying in the field and like, tomorrow I'm going to be at that crossroads. And I'm like, what do you mean? What's happening? Did we go back in the past again? And then the flower falls into the ocean and Spinel picks it up. And I was like, we did this already? And then she's back home and I'm like, and then I went, and I literally, guys, I swear to God, my brain was fracturing because I'm like, we did this all already. And then I went, wait a minute. And then I went into my save files. I'm like, okay, we loaded. I'm like, did we load the wrong fucking save? It took way too long for me to figure that one out. I was like, why are we rehashing shit we already did? And guys, I'm not having a good time. Oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway, so now we're at the right part. The sad part is I would have noticed at some point because I was like, it just felt like for some reason, like I was like, I know we've done this scene before, but I was thinking from the first game and I was like, why do they like, we know who Anko is right now. You don't have to do this whole like other and question mark. I'm like, just say it's fucking Anko. And I was like seriously thinking that in the game, I'm like, why are you doing this like we don't know who he is? Like, if you're gonna reuse scenes from the first game, like, you fucking take 2 seconds to edit them and fix them so that, because we know who he is now. But then I was like, wait, didn't we already do that in this game too? Didn't we already play this scene? And then I eventually caught up to, yeah, okay, so. Because, like, the scene was familiar. I just assumed it was like they were replaying scenes from the first game because that's what they like to do in this route. It's really just almost replaying the whole first game again. Like, oh my God. Oh, I feel very stupid. We all have stupid moments, and today was my stupid day, apparently. Yeah. Anyway, we decided to gather again tomorrow to explain my current situation and to talk about the information we had gained so far. We were going back to the cave, and since Adolphe was to meet up with Eve and the others, we parted ways, which is why when we were like, I showed back up at the house covered in blood, and I was like, wait a minute, why are we going back to the orphanage? And then it was like, she wakes up and then everybody's screaming outside, and I'm like, and that's when I clued in. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We went over. Anyway, dear God. Ugh. No, listen up. Oh, listen up, Watchman of Death or whatever. If you do anything to harm her, I won't ever forgive you. I'll chase you to the ends of the earth and kill you. Suicide's frowned upon. I'm just kidding. Now that would be pretty fucking funny if Anko said that and Adolphe is like, what, you think it's like a suicide mission? Because we'd know. If you can accomplish that with your frail human body, please do try. I love that he is being such a bitch to himself. And I mean that on both their parts. After glaring sharply at Anko, Adolphe departed. Well, we should leave too. So we're meeting at your cave tomorrow morning, right? Yes. Thank you for your cooperation and for helping to keep the situation calm. Of all people, for me to have lost my head in front of that immature brat. Guess you two are alike in a way. Yeah, in more ways than one. Also, one thing I noticed, um, Spinell said she was on a boat and then she fell into the water and she was drunk or whatever, right? With replaying that scene by accident, they, show the little scenes of like the Lycoris flower in the water and then the hand picking it up. But the hand picks it up on a beach. And I was like thinking to myself, well, didn't she scoop it out of the water? Because that would fit with her story. So they show a hand like it looks like it washes up on shore and then a hand picks it up. So I don't know if that is just a flaw in like the way they drew that and with aligning with the story so it doesn't align perfectly with the story, or if she's full of shit now because her story is I was on a boat and then I reached in the water and drunkenly fell in and then got washed up here. Whereas the little, like, kind of sketch scene that they show is her picking it up off the shore. So I don't know. I mean, and they could have just drawn like a little scene. Oh, we just want a hand picking it up out of the water. And they drew it like that and it doesn't match up with her story. And it's just like a little like, oops, flaw in the game itself, where they didn't really think about it, where it doesn't line up, or her story is made up. So I'm just going to put a pin in that one because, now I wonder, So I'd be interested if she was making up her story, why? So. After the details were settled, Spinell left, making her way toward the bar. Only Anko and I remained in the area. Dear princess, I'm sorry. I keep saying I'll respect your wishes, yet I one-sidedly forced my thoughts and actions. It's okay. I also need to apologize. But can I take this opportunity to say one thing to you? Have I done something else to upset you? No, it's nothing like that, but I gripped the edges of my sleeves tightly as I readied myself. The way you belittle yourself and disregard your own injuries is a little saddening. I tilted my head down slightly and looked at Anko's midsection, which had suffered a lethal injury just moments ago. I'm very grateful you protected me. Since I'm very weak, there'll probably come more times when you have to protect me. But instead of glossing over the issue by saying the wounds will heal, if it hurts you, I want you to say so. Seeing that your wounds bleed, it means you're alive just like any other human. Dear princess, I'm sorry if I'm worrying needlessly. No. Anko slowly reached out toward me. Then he began to slowly undo my tightly gripped fists, one finger at a time. After all my fingers were extended. You really have been saying such wonderful things to me. As if to assure me that things were okay, he held my trembling hands. I've always thought of pain as something I deserved. With so many lives sacrificed, I resigned myself to accepting this pain as punishment. But if making up for my sins that way causes you grief, I will arrogantly resist this form of punishment. Uncle smiled, and his red eyes changed to a softer color. I don't want you to do it just for my sake, but for yours. Then I have no choice. Apart from your tears, I have no other weaknesses. However, if I begin to yield to the pain from now on, when that happens, could I ask you to hold my hand like this? Of course. I'll also administer the proper treatment needed, too. After making our promise, we slowly began walking back, hand in hand. Aw, we're holding hands now. Let's sum up everything and get to the romance. We don't need to play the rest of this game. I'm just saying, we already played the first game once before, and we did all the endings again a second time, so we don't really need a rehash. So let's like sum it up and get to the like touchy-feely romancy moments with Onko, is all I'm saying. The night sky above us was calm and beautiful, as if all the deaths and murders weren't going on below it. We were captivated by the sight above and completely missed the timing to let go of each other's hand. Aw, how strange. As I learned more about my partner Onko, I had all sorts of encounters, and I kept finding reasons to continue to live. Considering I had gained so many things by this point in time, Onko, I'm gonna do my best. Dear princess, your efforts thus far have been more than enough. I wondered how much my heart, living in this narrow world, would change when I learned his true intentions. Okay, sum it up now. Oh, Capucine! Oh, good times! Wait a minute, never mind. Let's do this and then we can wrap it up. Well, you know what I mean, sum it up and like, we don't need to go through the whole entire game very detailed like this. Like, there are skipping over a lot of things, yes, but they're going like, we're doing this, and then we're doing this, and then we're going to do that. And it's like, it's still going to take us like 20 fucking hours. And I mean, part of me is like, well, at least they gave Anko like a full kind of route, sort of, but at the same time, it's just redoing the first game, which isn't very fun. You know, even though it's slightly different, it's still the same. So, like, I've, you know, I don't know. So, the part of my face that was grabbed by that woman still hurts. I walked through the empty streets of Coed alone as I rubbed my throbbing cheeks. You say that like it happened 5 minutes ago, but it would have happened a couple days ago, or at least a day ago. I feel like this should have been after that scene. It feels a little disjointed. Unless he's just being a drama queen. Like, I know it's been like a month, but it still hurts. It's Capucine, so fair enough. Because of that incident, I had to leave tracking down Cyan Brophies and the others to Lucas. It's very fortunate no one saw the faces of those clones, but okay, so he's just being a drama bitch. Okay, yeah, all right, all right. He already began doubting the royal family. It'd probably be better to go through with his assassination earlier than planned. Don't you touch my boyfriend! I will get. Oh, listen. I tolerate a lot from you because I love to hate you. But if you touch Cyan, I swear to fucking God, Capucine, there is no end on this island that you will ever be able to hide from me, and I will torture the shit out of you harder than I would have done it before. And I'm seriously gonna like it. Don't even. The horror things that you have done will be nothing compared to the shit I'm gonna do to you. To that end, I needed to steal the research from that idiot Camille Claude soon. What? Camille's alive? We're supposed to pretend to be shocked. As I walked with those thoughts in mind. Hmm. Hmm. I noticed someone sitting on a bench next to the waterway in front of me. I thought it was a rare sight this late at night as I started to pass by. Yep. Huh. Is that... It's the horridly violent woman who threw me the other night. She was sitting with her arms crossed and was tilting her head from side to side. She looks asleep to me. Why, two of them? She was repeating those words, which didn't mean anything to me. I wonder... Okay, wait. Why two of them? Like, why two... Boro... I was going to say Lucas clones, and I was like, Boro clones? Like, why two Boros? Or why are there two on call phase? Or did she, when she was like, huh? She like looked at both of them, and then when she was looking at Adolphe, he's like, "What the fuck are you staring at me for, bitch?" And she's like, "Yeah, well, I just heard you're her older brother, so I was wondering if when she was like, huh? I was wondering if she was like, you guys are like the same person. Like, I wondered if she fucking clued into it. So now her like two of them, it could go either way. It could be like an obvious like she's trying to ponder why there's two Boros, right? Like, why are there two of them? Or why in the world is there a second Adolphe who's pretending to be Anko? What the fuck is this shit? You know what I mean? Because honestly, both of them are the obvious not answer, but yeah, the obvious answer for like what is she talking about two of them. Either one could be the obvious answer. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, we just fought Boro, and then she's wondering why there's two of them when we said there's a Boro and now there's two. Why? Or it could be because Adolphe and Anko, and she's like, how the fuck are there two of you? But she would have to know that they're the same person and not like twins. You know what I mean? Because it's like twins exist. Maybe not in this world. You know, we've never mentioned if on Arpachel there's any such thing as twins, but twins would exist in the rest of the world. So it's not like she'd be like, "Are you guys related?" They could have been, you know what I mean? So like, how would she know that Adolphe and Anko are the same person? But at the same time, the thing showed her picking up the Lycoris flower from the beach, not falling into the ocean. So, or like scooping it out where it's all out of the water, where then you'd be like, oh, okay, I could believe her story. So I don't know. Maybe she knows some shit. So we'll see. So she could be more intriguing than I gave her credit for. Okay, because again, I was like, they just chucked her in here to like fix everything real fast, because that seems fucking weird. No, she's got other mysteries and other hiding things and other twisty things. Then okay, better. But it seems she hasn't noticed me. She gave me a bad feeling, so as I tried to turn around and leave the area, she looked up almost at the exact same time. Hey, it's the doctor from the other night. What a coincidence running into you here. She shot up from the bench and approached me without hesitation in an unsophisticated manner. Ugh! Just as I thought. There's something about this woman that I don't like. The fact that she's a woman? I say that, and yet at the same time you're like, you're not really into Nadia. Good, obviously. So much because she's a girl. Just disgusting. But you're like, oh, God, her jeans. So he's not really like straight, not really gay. He's whatever the fuck being really into jeans would be. And I don't mean the jeans that you're wearing on your lower half. I mean like your actual DNA. You know what I mean? So like, because when he saw ours, he was all like in a tither. So yeah, he's making Nadia his wife. But again, it's like, is she your beard? Like, I mean, like, it's just the way I read Capucine. But like, also, he's just something on his own. He's not gay, straight, bisexual, pansexual. He is gene sexual, and that's a weird. Fuck it. Listen. I know it's. Listen. We all have little kinks and things, okay? Suit sexual, right here. You put anything on. It doesn't even matter. Put a suit on it, and I'm like, okay, like men or women. That's basically it. When you put like an animal in a suit, it's like, that's adorable. Look, it's so cute. You know what I mean? But like, I'm like, the only gay in me is the gay man in me. We've had this conversation. So like, nothing like Spinell's beautiful, but I'm not like, I know there's a lot of people. I want to have my girlfriend. I want to have my lesbian. Please don't keep that away from me. Not because I have a problem with lesbians. I'm just like, oh God, no thanks to vaginas. No. Mm-mm. Because the gay twin I absorbed in the womb is like, girl, no, we don't do that here. So the only gay in me is the gay man, okay? That's as far as gay as I get. But if you put a woman in a suit, it's like, well, maybe. I'm just saying, okay? It's the suit that I'm into. You put a man in a suit, God, it's sexy. You put a woman in a suit, maybe I might question myself. You know, I'm just saying. So, yeah, you know. But, I mean, I feel like that's just a little less fucking weird than Capucine being like, oh, God, look at your DNA. Okay. Especially because he likes the fucked up DNA. He likes them fucked up genes. Oh, and he does fucking crazy shit. It's not even just like, oh, I like looking at your genes in a microscope. You know what I mean? It's not even like that where you're like, he's going off on a corner on his own and you're like, okay, whatever gets... whatever, sweetie. Like, that's fine. It's the sick, fucked up experiments you're doing to children and then turning Nadia into your, like, there are lines. Your sick perversions are one thing. You just took it way too far. You could write a whole fucking thesis on Capucine, too, on, like, seriously, why public stoning should be brought back. Capucine, right there. Like, this is why. This is why. Or, like, you know, I don't know, torture in prison should maybe be okay for people like Capucine. That's all I'm saying. Like, does that make me psychotic? Maybe. But look at the world we're living in Arpa Shell over here. You know, I mean, worse things have happened. Literally Capucine. Just saying. As much as I threatened him before, nothing I could possibly think of in my darkest, evilest, satanic fantasies would ever come close to the atrocities he's committed, okay? I don't think I could ever get that fucked up. I'm trying, Capucine, because that's what you deserve, but it's never going to be quite as fucked up as you are. Anyway, he doesn't like this woman because she's got fabulous, beautiful, perfect genes, not fucked up weird ones. We might be able to make conversation, but I couldn't understand this feeling. If possible, I didn't want to get involved. But I couldn't get away. Hello. I have various reasons to thank you for that night. Has the investigation gone well since then? I thought he was going to say, I have various reasons to avoid this conversation, so I'm going to pretend I gave you one. Like, because that would be the socially awkward weirdo thing to do, but Capucine's a little more eloquent, unfortunately. I casually asked to see if I could get any information from her. Well, it's been going. I'm not in charge of the matter, so there isn't much I can tell you. I wasn't sure whether or not she sensed my intentions, but she gave me a vague answer. No, she just senses that you a freak. And that's an understatement. That's an insult to freaks. Because there's nothing wrong with being a freak. You are seriously fucked up. And then, as she looked at me and gave me a satisfied smile, you showed up just at the right time. My thoughts have been a mess all day, and it's made me feel gloomy. I plan on drinking till I feel better, so why don't you join me, Doc? Are you going to try to get Capucine drunk? If you do, can you push him in the canal? Because then he might drown. I'm just saying. Huh? Yeah, huh? Before I could make sense of things, the back of my collar was being pulled. I like how Spinell is just like, I think you'll work for a drinking buddy. Is she planning on torturing him for information or something? She can't just think that, like, yeah, good enough, we can hang out. Because I kind of find it hilarious, actually, that she wants Capucine as a drinking buddy. I'm curious as to where this is going to go. As my body was slowly being dragged away, I came to my senses. But please hold on. As a doctor, I must avoid alcohol as much as possible. As much as possible? That doesn't mean always, right? Don't worry. As an apology for throwing you, it'll be my treat. Drink as much as you like. That's not the issue. Ah, damn. Why are you so strong despite being a woman? Why are you so weak despite being a man? Took me a minute. I had to put my controller in my other hand to be able to snap at that. So there you go. You're going to clap back at you, bitch. My resistance was in vain, and I was dragged mercilessly in the direction of a nearby bar. A few hours later, having not had a drink in years, I was given alcohol until I passed out. Oh, she did this on purpose. She's smart. I mean, we knew she was smart. She can use her brain cells. I'm not very good at using them in this game. Do we have 80 of these chapters? Like, just curious. It was my first time. Oh, it was my first time seeing you sulk. In my memories, you were always crying with your eyes cast down. I'm assuming we're Onko. Well, seeing that expression on your face certainly leaves me perplexed. I wonder, why do I feel so delighted to see you so full of life? Aw, that's kind of sweet, actually. It's like, why am I so delighted to see you so full of life that you're like sulking? Because like she used to be sad and like a little sad sack, and now she like, and she wanted to kill herself, and now she's actually finding reasons to postpone that whole decision. How many years has it been since I last raised my voice like this, apart from anguished cries? If we break this curse before I make any decisions about my future, I'm gonna work and buy those earrings back from Spinel. So during that time, please just think of it as Spinel holding onto your earrings. The woman who loathed her own existence would live a bit longer, just for an item belonging to a suspicious man she just met. But the thing is, you got to realize that somewhere deep down, well, first of all, she's very trusting of everyone because she was going to trust fucking Dr. McCreep Pants, Capucine. Okay. For a hot second, I was like, we just saw him and my brain went blank. We were going to be like, I don't know, he seems nice because she's too fucking not. She's too fucking nice. Like, she's soft. You know what I mean? So, like, of course she's gonna trust you, strange weirdo. Like, come on. But also, I'm gonna give her a little bit of credit and be like, there's also something probably deep down inside of her that just feels this kinship because she knows, not that she knows that he's Adolphe, but you know what I mean? You just feel something, you just know something deep down. You know you can trust Anko because he is Adolphe and you trust Adolphe, and, you know? So, you're quite interesting. You want to discover my true intentions. You want to save the lives of those you hold dear. Now you want to buy back my earrings. For so many reasons now, your death keeps getting more and more postponed. After she had fallen asleep, I stepped out into the Lycoris fields and recalled her words, which put my heart at ease. My memory isn't perfect, but I believe this is the first time I've laughed so much, even when I consider the distant past. But at the same time, I had another thought. Has Spacey ever declared a reason to live as boldly as she just did? I couldn't respond to my own question. I had left behind the people who had the answers. All I could rely upon now were my memories. But the situation now, our words and actions, are heading in a direction I can't predict. Soon the time will come when my memories will no longer be of use. When that happens, will I, who can no longer swing a sword, be able to protect Spacey? So I'm assuming not being able to swing a sword is because of, like, ingesting the flowers. So it is one of those, like, it's technically creating these antibodies and everything has made him weak because he's constantly eating them. I refused to lose the woman who happily agreed that my earrings and her necklace seemed like they were part of the same set, which was especially why it would be best to leave her in the care of someone who could guarantee her safety. I shook my head at the thought. How could I be so cowardly? I've come all this way for the purpose of offering her protection and salvation. I will ensure that Spacey is able to live a normal life, no matter the cost. No matter what it takes, I will see it through. I no longer had anything to lose. I wished for a future where the dancing Lycoris flowers returned to their original color, a future where she was able to smile. I looked up at the sky that prepared for a new tomorrow. The next morning, after the commotion died down and we were able to confirm the safety of all concerned parties, a discussion was to be held at Adolphe's home, which I hadn't visited in quite some time. Considering everything that was to come, it was decided that Anko and I would be staying there for the time being. In a little throuple with my boyfriend and himself, and due to Boro making an appearance that night, whispers echoed among the royal family as well as the general public, that he was behind the two incidents I bore witness to. Whether it was a good thing or not, their hostility toward me had faded drastically, allowing me to walk around as I pleased. But there was one problem. These two, ugh, they look like they're supposed to be talking because their mouths moving, but nothing's saying anything. No one's saying anything. As soon as they entered each other's sights, my two older brother figures stared daggers at each other. Well, there's a reason for that. I already filled Adolphe in on the events that transpired while we were apart. That, combined with the fact that I knew of his decision to not become a reliver, led to him wearing a slightly pained expression. I understand now. It's hard to believe that all happened while you were gone. The thing is, that really kind of sucks about this, right? Is Adolphe, like, okay, in every other route, yes, Adolphe's that childhood friend character in this game where, like, every other route where although, I mean, like, well, you met Eve once when you were a kid, you weren't really childhood friends, but, like, you've known Adolphe your whole life, and so he's that character that is like I've always been in love with you. You go off and you marry other people and whatever, and technically Adolphe and Anko are that character, right? But you don't really, like, Adolphe isn't always, like, following you around and as obvious as some other childhood friend, always been in love with you characters in other games where you're like, yeah, no, that guy's in love with you. Are you dumb? Adolphe's always protecting you and whatever, and you could take it as, I mean, we know, but you could take it as, like, oh, okay, he cares about you, you're a sister, and, like, I'm sure he loves you deep down. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, but you could kind of brush it off and, like, so when you're dating one of the other characters, you're like, he's fine. Anko's the one that's not fine. But then when you know that, like, Adolphe and Anko are the same person, it's hard to not be able to realize that Adolphe's always been in love with you, obviously, because the second you died, he went through look at everything he did as Anko to save you. You know what I mean? So it's really fucking hard when you get to this point, and then it's an Anko route, and then Adolphe's always there, and you're like, this hurts, though, because you're going to choose Anko, and Anko is Adolphe, but this Adolphe who's still in love with you and is in love with you enough to probably still go through all of this shit for you, even though you didn't die. You know that that's literally right there. It's on the edge of that precipice, right? Where you would just fall off that fucking cliff and go cuckoo bananas and turn into Anko for you. That's still technically, Adolphe may not be standing on the edge of that precipice, but he's right there. He's looking at it. He's like a foot from it. One quick jump and he's over the edge. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's so hard to be like, yeah, well, we're going to go with Anko. Oh, but like, because they're the same person. I think that makes it worse. You know what I mean? Because, like, in other ones, the childhood friend, when you're like, oh, I feel bad for them, but it's like, it's okay. This one, it's like, I feel bad for them, and it's not okay because they're the same damn person, so that makes it harder. Because you're literally like, I love you, but this version of you, not the version, like, fuck! Like, that's crazy. That's another thing you can throw into your, like, freaking crazy thesis if you're writing. You know what I mean? Is like, then it gets complicated, and then it's like, because, like, yes, now they're different people, but they're still essentially the same person, and that's part of that conundrum, and like, oh, it pains me. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I understand why Adolphe and Anko have to be so tied in this, because it's part of the whole thing, but it's still just like, oh no, but it hurts a little. Like, and Cyan's my favorite, but like when we're not in love with him, it's like, yeah, I mean, like, she's just being stupid right now because she's not in love with Cyan, but we never got the chance to like see him or run into him or anything, but he's also not pining over you right now. He's too busy trying to scavenge a piece of bread off his floor. So like, whatever. he's a very unkempt man, isn't he? Oh, good lord. Anyway. Oh. I thought it was pretty ridiculous for you to be tackling the truth behind the curse, but that was because you overheard us. In that case, I'll gladly lend a hand. I never want to leave you alone with this suspicious guy anyway. He's you. I could say the same. If I left my princess to you, it would only be a matter of time before you locked her up in some cage. Oh, yeah. Well, Lucas is the one that did it, though. Adolphe's like, I mean, I was just going to borrow it from Lucas. I could practically feel the friction between their interlocking gazes. Why are these two so at odds when they only just met? Not to mention that Anko seemed to dislike Adolphe from the very beginning. Adolphe doesn't like Anko because you're with some other man, and he's like, what the fuck, I don't trust this guy. He felt the same way about Cyan. Lucas and Eve, I think he was like, okay, but like Anko, fuck this guy, Well, Adolphe wasn't really around much in Mathis's realm, to be fair, so I'm not really sure what he felt about that. But you know what I mean? And then we know why Anko hates Adolphe, so Anko just hates himself. Now that we're on the same page, should we return to the topic at hand? You're right. Anyway, it's pretty unbelievable hearing that you met a new drifter. The rest of the country hears about this. Who knows what chaos that'll cause? Especially because then there'll be 3. And then when we all get together with Adolphe, Anko, and Spinel, there'll be 3 in that room, even though 2 of them are the same, and that's not, and whatever. So technically 4 drifters, if you think about the original one. But do Anko and Adolphe count as a different one since they're the same person? Cyan and the others met Spinel last night, didn't they? From what I heard from Eve, she pretended to pass by, but then helped them corner the fake Boro. Adolphe spoke, clearly unsure of what to make of Spinel, whom he barely knew. Based on appearances alone, she didn't seem any different from the citizens of Arpachel. If we were to tell someone she wasn't from here, most people wouldn't believe it. And yet a rare case such as hers did indeed exist. At the very least, it would be best if Cyan Brophies did not know of her existence. There's no telling what will happen otherwise. I'm sure that humans from the outside world are only seen as test subjects in the eyes of the researchers on this island. Test subjects? I shuddered at the possibility. All things considered, I'd rather not involve Spinel more than necessary. In that case, the investigation of the curse will be handled by us alone. Thankfully, she seems to have no interest in being involved. Now for our plan of action. Since we let Boro escape, tailing him's our biggest priority. In other words, that would be this amateur's job, correct? I have a name. It's Adolphe. Despite glaring at Anko, Adolphe didn't disagree with his proposal. Of course, I'll also be tagging along for the investigation into the curse. But I can't ignore Boro. I'll be focusing on investigating with the Corps during the day, so I'll be out of the house. That will not be a problem. I never planned to depend on you to begin with. It's funny to hear that coming from someone as weak as you. I think it would be best for all 3 of us to conduct our investigation together. I hurriedly tried to change the subject when it seemed that a fight would break out. In that case, perhaps it'd be best to look into the missing prostitutes and the mysterious deaths during our free time. It's kind of funny, too, because, usually, when you have 2 love interests and they hate each other and you're like, okay, this is no fighting in the man harem. But it's a little bit weirder when you're like, no fighting with yourself in the man harem, you two. It's a stipulation you never really thought you'd have to add, huh? If the series of incidents is connected to the truth, then it'll be time well spent. That's true. Although it'd be faster if this guy would just tell us everything. Have I not said several times already that I cannot speak of it, even if I wanted to? Give him an example, Anko. Just do it. And this is not some cruel prank I'm playing on the princess for fun. I wonder. Doubt and suspicion were clearly reflected in Adolphe's eyes. Oh, that's right, Anko. Won't my presence bring misfortune to you and Adolphe? You need not worry about that. We cannot solve the mystery if misfortune befell us, as there'd be no point. The night we met, I used my abilities to cast a spell to suppress your power. A spell? You actually sound insane right now. What's fun about this, though? Right now, you sound insane. It's like the Adolphe inside of Anko is like, I know, God! Because They did a really good job keeping Adolphe's personality consistent. Like when he goes and he's with the Drifter, and then the Drifter's like, I'm gonna make you a costume, you gotta act like this. And he's like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. And like, and then like you get to this point, and Adolphe being like, you sound insane. And like, Adolphe inside of Anko is like, I know, but I've been doing this for, oh, God, it's so embarrassing to be called out by myself. It's so funny. Say what you will. As long as she believes it, that'll be enough. So, the reason nothing's happened to Adolphe is, though luck does play a factor, your current circumstances are largely owed to me. Which is true in multiple ways. Like, she's like, so the reason Adolphe's not sick is because you put a spell on me. And he's like, yes, all of this is because of me. Which is true, because me is Adolphe, and Adolphe's not sick because Adolphe is Anko and is technically immortal and immune to the curse, and Anko knows that, so yes. He is not sick because I don't have the ability to get sick and am immune to the curse, and I'm Adolphe, so. So, kind of like, yes, actually. But also, his blood nullifies our, like, whatever abilities. Like, I think they said that in the first game or whatever. So, also, yes. So, multiple layers to that because of me thing. And that's kind of funny, too. It's so much actually funnier when you know that they're the same character and you see these little things like this and you're like, I don't know if they meant it like that, but, like, I'm gonna read into it, and that's kind of fun. Still, my power does have its limits. The effect will wear off after some time, and you will again bring demise to those around you, except for Adolphe, but. Which means I don't have much time. I wish to protect everything I held dear. This drove me not only to look into the curse, but also solve the rest of the incidents with Adolphe and Anko. If you have that kind of power, why don't you just turn her back into a normal human now? I said my spell is temporary. There are additional steps to be taken. It cannot be done overnight. Since he had already witnessed Anko's regenerative abilities, Adolphe didn't voice his doubts any further. We made plans to reconvene later that night to discuss unraveling the curse. Adolphe decided to meet with Eve and the others and stop by the orphanage to inform Mother of my situation. Now listen up. You stay put until I come back. There's Adolphe in his little corps uniform. If you lay a finger on her, I'll chop you up and bury you in that field of Lycoris noirs. Why don't you do that, then? I shall stand by your bedside as I regenerate myself. But please don't say something so scary. Their sarcastic back and forth continued right up until Adolphe left. Well, I'll be going. And don't get too involved with that guy, got it? Really? You've told me that 5 times already. Adolphe changed into his corps uniform and repeatedly warned Anko before finally leaving. After listening to his departing footsteps grow fainter and fainter, I leapt into Anko's arms for a passionate kiss. Wouldn't you be shocked if that happened? Now, time to search this house. It would be nice to find anything I can use against him. You should already know what's in the house, Anko. You might not remember, though. Huh? I think this scene was from the first game. He swiftly began exploring the room. Search? But Anko's long robe dragged across the floor as he paid me no mind. This really is a terribly small shack. Will it truly be all right for the princess to stay in a place like this? It's so funny how much he hates himself so much that he is downing everything that was his. This seems to be where he keeps his clothes. While they're awfully plain, they'd be perfect to wear to bed. So this is where he keeps his belongings. Oh, is this a diary? It's so funny, like, Anko ruffling through Adolphe's shit like he doesn't know where everything already is. On second thought, never mind. I wouldn't want to experience second-hand embarrassment. As opposed to the secondhand embarrassment you're feeling right now. The firsthand embarrassment you're feeling acting like this now? Or he's just gotten so used to this that this is just who he is now? Oh, much heavier than I thought. How fragile humans are to have to wield such things to fight. Stop, Anko! You shouldn't be rummaging through Adolphe's room like this! I chased after Anko in an attempt to stop him from ransacking the place as he pleased. And please put the sword down. You don't want it to hurt you. Oh, that's right. I had just promised you that I wouldn't make light of my injuries, after all. Anko, appearing satisfied, sheathed the sword and returned it to where it belonged. Anko, you seem to be acting more childish today. Or rather, you seem to be enjoying yourself somewhat. I usually spend my time in the Lycoris field or in Hades, so I'm quite curious about how humans live. I see. I feel the same way about your home in Hades. When I eventually go there, I'd also like to walk around and explore. There's still much time before your journey to Hades, I'm sure. By the way, dear princess, would you happen to see any matches around? I have a fancy for smoking tobacco. Okay, so he did. Okay. All right, somebody probably told me this in the drifter route, because I think I asked, like, when the drifter had the pipe or whatever and then gave it to Anko, I was like, I'm surprised they never mentioned that in the first game or whatever, but I couldn't remember if they did, and okay, because this is a scene from the first game. I remember him going around the house, but then this going outside is like, okay, okay, all right, so they did have that. It's not just something they added here. So, like, they did okay. I'm still going to complain about the fact that they just keep recycling half of the first game, and we're just replaying the first game over a lot of the time for, like, the encore endings, and then even for this, we're doing a lot of the same stuff again. That's kind of cheap. You know, a cheap, lazy way to fluff out time, which, I don't love it. But they did a really great job with tying things back, like, Adolphe, like, Anko's earrings being from her, because they didn't explain that in the first game at all. Like, I don't think that they did. Like, Anko's earrings were made from our pendant. Like, that now we find out Adolphe had a stone, made himself a pair of earrings, and made our necklace. And then Adolphe took that necklace and the drifter made them into earrings for Anko. That's just fucking ridiculously beautiful, right? And the fact that then, after Anko dies in the original, like, right, like, and we're in Adolphe's after stories, we've turned those earrings into trinkets for both of us to wear to remember him. And like, so it's like such a it's a constant loop. It's just so many squiggles and it's just crazy how many like loops these are making. Like, and then going through the like, okay, they mentioned that, like, I'm sure we'll see here where he goes out and if he says, oh, the drifter gave it to him or whatever, then that's why they added it in the drifter story. But it's nice that the little details like that they brought up and didn't just kind of like forget about, you know what I mean? Tobacco? Was he really planning on smoking? I think the matches are here. Do you really smoke? The Watchman of Death, smoking tobacco. I have to admit I'm surprised. I just happened upon some long ago. I indulge in the pleasure now and again. Well, I suppose if you smoke outside, Adolphe hates the smell of tobacco. To be honest, I don't know much about it myself. Do you like the way it smells? Does it taste good? That's difficult to answer. I simply enjoy the smoke itself rather than the aroma or flavor. It's hard to imagine. I reflected on the strangeness of tobacco while handing Anko the book of matches from a nearby cabinet. Also, the drifter used to just smoke random fucking herbs. But he's a little weirdo that bred Eve somehow, and look at Eve's cooking, so I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, you know the drifter was like using real herbs. Eve would be like, I'm just gonna get some random fucking shit, and we'd all end up fucking dead. He'd have made mustard gas. Thank you. Since I won't be smoking in your presence, may I borrow this for a while? Oh, you can have it, but in exchange, can I watch you? I've only really seen people smoking from afar. Of course, you're more than welcome to. I'll let you know, however, that the tobacco I use is slightly different. Yeah, okay, so they did show the okay, so they did. So I'm sure someone told me that in the drifter route that yes, they did have this and this, and here you go. Here's the scene. So okay, cool. As he spoke, he pulled out an item that had a peculiar shape to it. So I just don't remember this. But now that we're playing this, I'm like, oh, okay, I remember this from the first game, but like, it wasn't ringing a bell when we did it in the drifter route. Well, the whole pipe thing. I've never seen anything like it. Is it made of iron? Indeed. You place the ground up leaves in this bowl here, light them on fire, and then breathe in the fumes. I see. Seems like a very rare item. It's in great condition as well. I can see you've taken very good care of it, Anko. I have. This, too, is one of my most treasured items, after all. I watched in admiration as he carefully put it away. They sell regular tobacco in town, so it may be interesting to compare the two. Indeed. And now then, it seems it's about time we sat out ourselves. We set out ourselves? Oh, it seems it's about time we set out ourselves. Wow. You're right. In the case of the deliverer, we still have some time before the next moonless night. So we should go to the marsh and gather some information that might shed light on the mysterious deaths. And is something the matter, Princess? Well, wouldn't Anko attract too much attention with the way he was currently dressed? Are we going to put Anko in normal clothes? I don't remember that. I had been worried about his appearance. To address my concerns, I had slowly been working on a new outfit for him to wear. Well, actually, that would be because Anko should get a new outfit like everybody else does in all these thereafter stories. So this should be new then. How do the clothes feel? I used your usual outfit as inspiration for it. What? I don't remember this from the first game. Is it a new outfit? Because I feel like your hair's different. There are no problems with... Oh, there are no problems with it at all. And to think you made me clothes in such a short amount of time. You're very dexterous. Ooh! But like, look, he's got like... Oh, he's got like tails on that little waistcoat thing going on. I love it. And just normal pants, but he's still got the poofy sleeves and everything. And like, he's got his hair up in a little high ponytail. Mm-hmm. You would make a lovely bride. You're just flattering me. I make clothes, I'm dexterous, and I'd make a lovely bride. Sir, I don't... You've been thinking, that's a thought you've had in your head for a long time, because that came out of nowhere. No, this is new, because I don't remember this at all. Look at this. This is fucking fabulous. Listen, I know we like Anko's clothes to begin with, but this is like... Oh my god, this is so much better. I love this so much more. It's so ridiculous. And not, like, in a bad way. I mean, like, it's ridiculous how much I fucking love this. Like, it's perfect. Oh, look at you. Uncle spun in place, clearly in high spirits. I truly appreciate the kind gesture. I'll treasure this clothing for all eternity. Speaking of which do you prefer? How I look in the clothes you made, or when I wear my usual outfit? I like this. He's still got the, like, slutty peep window in the back. Didn't the drifter say something about, like, oh, we should have it all open in the back or whatever? And I was like, was it open in the back? And I couldn't remember until, like, when he stands in this pose, and it's like, it really is open in the back. He's got, like, a fucking back cleavage window. Like, he had a little bit of a tit window, not very much, but, he had some cleavage going on the front. But, like, he had a low, but, like, the back window. The drifter was a funny man, and we're like, I'm gonna lean into it. But, like, God, I love this. Ugh. He posed his question with a mischievous smile on his face. I like the current Anko. Can I just say that? Oh, it's I can't choose. Good one, girl. All right, that's good. I can't pick one. Your appearance when you came for me that night and how you currently look as we're about to go into town. Both versions of you are precious because you're my partner. I see. It is an honor to hear that. While I will be lending these earrings to Spinel. I also have the tobacco and now the clothes you've given me. I've been gaining more and more treasures since coming up to this world. I must be sure to take them back with me to Hades. And you can see his little earrings more now. I'm happy to hear it. After sharing a laugh with Anko in his fresh new outfit, we set out to investigate the mysterious deaths. I love it. Who's other this time? You're investigating the incidents and the country's curse at the same time? Well, now that is quite a handful. Adolphe stopped by to give her a quick report. After hearing about their next course of action from her foster son, Sister Salome paused while sewing Spacey's clothes. There's a possibility that those incidents occurred because of the curse. She's safe and sound, and she told me she was willing to help, too. Adolphe was selective with his words, and it seemed that Salome was satisfied, as she nodded in response. Salome was satisfied, Jesus. That loud working at the head of the Institute would probably argue it's a superstition with no scientific basis. Scion? I was also considering asking him for help too, actually. Don't! I absolutely will not allow it! I understand it was necessary during the operation with Boro, but if I could have my way, I wouldn't have let either of you go anywhere near that dangerous man. The tone of her voice lowered. Adolphe, I've been telling you this since you were little, but it still seems like you don't fully understand your worth. Can you imagine what might have happened if you were found by another reliver? He immediately kept his mouth shut. The instincts he developed in childhood warned him that he should never go against her when she was in this state. It's good to be responsible, but since you joined the Corps, you've become quite reckless. Once those incidents are resolved, why not leave the Corps and have Eve become the next leader? Surely by now it's become difficult to hide your lifespan and physical condition, hasn't it? I understand, but for now I want to focus on my work first. Salome looked slightly surprised to hear Adolphe's response. Whenever she brought up this subject, he would usually change the subject or simply stay quiet. Since this also concerns the children's safety, I won't stop you, but please promise me you won't do anything rash. Also, there's one last thing I wanted to ask you. What is it? Who was that who ended up taking care of Spacey before you two were able to meet again? Now that you've seen her, you must know something about them. Well, actually, this was bad. He didn't think to prepare any excuses in regards to that. Absent from his report was that the suspicious Watchman of Death would assist him in discovering the truth behind the curse. Even worse would be revealing that the shady character was now living with Spacey, and you, in your house. She would throttle him for hours if she found out, which was why he voiced his next words unwillingly. He's a trustworthy person. He seems to cherish Spacey quite a bit, so he won't be a problem, I think. I mean, that is true. You don't think he's trustworthy, but he is, and he does cherish me quite a bit. And Adolphe would know. He couldn't voice his true thoughts. Regardless, he purposely left out a name, and sure enough, that's awfully vague. I can't help but feel there's something you're hiding. Salome stared at Adolphe with clear suspicion in her gaze. Salome stares suspiciously. He panicked inwardly, thinking that he messed up in his response until... Well, I'm sure it's all right. He didn't seem like a bad person based on the contents of her letter. I'd be a failure of a mother if I worried over my children to the point that I couldn't trust them. For now, I'll simply watch over you without prying too much. Salome gave Adolphe a kind smile. Salome smiles. It was just because before they were so much S alliteration that now anytime there's, like, Salome does anything with S's, I have to just, it's just funny. Oh, I'm losing my mind. But in exchange, if I believe you two are doing something dangerous, I'll bring you back here without question. I'd like to see you try. Actually, she probably could. She'd threaten us with a bow and arrow. Yeah, I appreciate it. Sorry we keep worrying you, Mother. Adolphe internally breathed a sigh of relief. It's not Salome sighs because Adolphe is sighing. After 2 or 3 more minutes of updates, Salome saw Adolphe off with a gentle, loving smile while he gave the simplest of acknowledgments as he left. From the garden blooming with lycorises, the lovely voices of the children echoed as they the lively voices of the children echoed as they shouted their goodbyes. I wonder what's made him want to pursue the curse. It was difficult to imagine any normal person discovering the truth behind the curse that eluded even the understanding of a genius. However, the ethics of this country are terribly weak. We should not be so reliant on reliever technology. We must put an effort to live life like the humans outside of this country. I want to save the people by lifting the curse. The reliever-obsessed royal family must be abolished. It's as if those two have taken over the goal I've worked toward for years. I suspected that Spacey or Adolphe were either Death Reborn or related to Death. It was unthinkable I could have ever considered offering them to Cyan as test subjects during our collaboration. Of course, such a thought never returned after I realized how much I loved them. So, this is now we're getting to the point where it's like, they're kind of, now I wouldn't say skipping over stuff, but they're condensing stuff. So instead of us finding out, now it's like she said, and I don't think she said things quite like that until later in the game. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, we're kind of because I don't really want to play the whole first game again. You know what I mean? I'm still we're still kind of going where it's I guess good for Anko that he gets a long route, but it's really his route is just replaying the first game. So with some stuff kind of without a lot of the stuff in there, we don't go and spend time with that. We're not doing this and that, but it's we're doing a lot of the same stuff. So they're such beautiful souls. Nothing had changed in all these decades. The number of supporters who once wow, no, we're still in her mind now. The number of supporters who once shared my goals had dwindled considerably. Oh, there's my beautiful bastard. Cyan was now focused on developing more resilient relivers who could last longer than their current lifespan. But even if he were to be successful in creating relivers that could withstand the curse, could one actually call such a person a real human? Says the woman who's a reliver. The people of Arpachel now saw immediate revival after death to be normal, and had few objections about dying at 23. I myself had been affected by becoming a reliver. The more I saw people discard their bodies as disposable vessels, the more I felt empty and unable to live with the passion I once had. I wonder if all I've been doing has been for nothing. I did what I could to try and retain my emotions and connections with others. Perhaps there's no one left in the country who wishes to live a normal human life. The sound of the wall clock startled me. I shouldn't be thinking so negatively now. I knew what I was facing when I decided to uncover the truth. Mother! I needed to fulfill my promise to him. Even if it takes 100 years, I will find a way to break the curse. I could not abandon the noble mission my original self began. I needed to annihilate the curse and the filthy royal family. The thing is I'm surprised. Well, did she ever... I would revive as many times as necessary, even if it destroyed me. Because Dahud wouldn't recognize her because I thought she was originally in charge of the Society of Exorcists or whatever and was living there, and so she had changed her face or whatever so nobody would recognize her as Christine. Right. And then now she's Salome, whatever, so Dahut wouldn't recognize her. But why wouldn't... I guess because Liam was such a baby, was so little when she supposedly, quote-unquote, died, that, it's hard to see, a 2-year-old and then see, Dahut, even though he's technically 15. But like 13 years later, like all toddlers are squishy little baby chunks. You know what I mean? So like, I mean, it gave it away their eye color, but I'm gonna guess like purple eyes are not rare in this country. I mean, it's rare for our characters that we run into, but maybe not. It'd be like, oh my god, this person has blue eyes and I have blue eyes. They must be my son. You know what I mean? It'd be like that. So I guess that's why, like, he was very young, so it'd be very hard to recognize. But like, and I guess green hair is not really rare because Spinell's got green hair and she's from like some Asian countries. So, you know, we're not looking at it like that's an odd hair color. It's just a hair color. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know, and it's not like, oh, dyes his hair. It's just he's naturally a green-haired person. So, you know, if it was an odd color combination of green hair and purple eyes, you'd think she'd be like, huh, interesting. You remind me of my son. But I think she might also think he's dead. So, yeah, fair enough. Although, even though Dahl had explained when he like, came out as being Liam and all that stuff, I don't think he ever said, like, they tried to kill me. Like, did he ever say anything about, like, how he escaped death? Like, because I thought everyone thought both of them were dead. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.